Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm chilling.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so let's do a quick intro and we can get started right away.
Okay, sweet. Just like my tag and stuff, right?
Just say, like, yeah, your tag, where you're from, how long you've been playing, and goals for the game. Those always help.
Sure. So, I'm Gorgonzola. I've been playing since like late 2019, like right before the pandemic. Really,
Mm
that's when
hmm.
I went to my first local. Um, and I've been kind of playing since then.
Okay.
Whether it was like with my roommates and stuff. Um, and I don't know. Most of my stuff recently, I've just been like TOing for
Mm
like
hmm.
my local scene.
Okay.
Um, but I've been recently like trying to get into the game again, like competitively and trying to get better. In the middle of the pandemic, switched to box because I like squeeze my hands really, like clench my fists really hard when I sleep. So sometimes like I wake up and my like hands are like, like super tensed up and stuff. But
I see.
yeah, nothing too
Okay.
crazy. But yeah,
Okay, so
but like
you're a.
real life,
So,
oh,
which
go ahead.
character do you play?
Fox.
Okay, so you're a box player who plays Fox, been playing for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright,
Yep.
sounds good. So, what are we going over today?
Perfect. Did I send you the
Yeah, I
VOD? Did
have
you
the
get that one?
YouTube VOD. I'm pulling it up.
Okay. This is like a set last night, actually. But I don't know. I like this is like one of like the better players in our region. He's like number one or two in our little mini Eastern Washington sub-region. So, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like the first time where I felt like if I cleaned things up, I could have like a chance, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't know. I like feel like I have like no confidence in my neutral or punish, so I just drop like everything and like
Okay.
unga bunga and just go for hits instead of actually setting things up.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
I'd like lack of discipline probably mostly and like just like probably like sheer impatience most of the time. I think like I want like things to be happening. But sometimes I'll also like completely back off and like give up my like the mix up to them. So I don't know. It's kind of confusing, I guess. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where I don't know
Okay.
if my brain works.
So, like, what are you planning on, like, getting out of this lesson? Like, ideally, like, what would you walk away with knowing?
Um uh I don't know. I just kind of I guess like when I thought about it cuz like when I started like because I've like watched like a bunch of like the lesson VODs that you have on YouTube
Oh,
and stuff.
nice.
So like there are some things that like I pick up on and like have definitely helped over the course of like especially like the last couple months where I feel like I've actually been kind of going for stuff. But I guess I just don't know like what I should be doing when I'm not in tournament like with melee, I guess. Like I
Okay.
don't know like the things that I should be practicing because I just get super like distracted, I guess, when I'm practicing because I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what I
So
should
you
be
want,
doing,
like,
I
some
guess.
direction, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. Is the screen share working?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Might just watch for a little bit before I mention stuff. We'll see.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, not a huge fan of that intro. Or
Yeah.
like that game start. It's kind of gambly, but that's kind of like what you were saying. Okay. Okay, that was a good grab. Mm. Hmm. So I kind of have some idea of what I want to talk about right now, I think, but I'm trying to figure out how to say it for now. So give me a little bit longer.
Worries.
Mm. Okay. Okay, so I can definitely see the stuff you're talking about here. Um, I think if I had to summarize my thoughts so far, it's basically that you are. What it seems like is that you are kind of overcomplicating the game for the level you're at.
Yeah.
And so what that creates is it makes the game very confusing because you aren't getting anything like by playing the game you're not like receiving stimuli that you can easily kind of package up or like it's hard to place your experiences into various boxes. That is like what it looks like. Um, and it looks like it's sort of a combination of character control. Like it looks like you don't really have super great control of Fox, more like kind of okay control of Fox, like okay execution and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so what can kind of happen at this level, because I can kind of like feel your Fox kind of hard. I'm like, oh man, I remember being there as Fox. I know a lot of Fox players who are kind of at that exact type of level, and it's like, it's yeah, it's like it's like basically when you sort of randomly run around and throw moves out in a way that kind of seems decent. That's probably when you do the best, but then when you try to like reduce things into like a clean format, I think a lot of times when you're kind of at this level, the tech skill you have is not consistent enough. So when you're trying to reduce things down into like very specific situations, you'll get kind of inconsistent results from it. And I
Mm.
think that like because like trying to reduce things also brings inconsistency, just like kind of running around and throwing stuff out. I think it's kind of the easy way out, or kind of like the natural inclination is to kind of just keep playing like that. But because sometimes like basically the stuff you're doing doesn't necessarily reward accuracy, so it it's easy to kind of get stuck in this weird level of uncertainty where like trying to do things is kind of worse than trying to just play, but then also trying to just play is really inconsistent too. And
Yeah.
that's kind of like the vibe I've been able to get from this match. And I just feel it super hard because I'm like, oh, I literally know exactly what this feeling is like. Um, would you say that's accurate?
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say that's like word for word what I would do if I was able to articulate it better. But yeah, like that's exactly what it feels like, and it's been frustrating because like I guess just super frustrating. I don't really know what else to say about it.
Mm-hmm. So okay, so there's like a few directions we can come at this from. So hmm, I think that something that would be very useful for you is probably practicing punish like a lot. Uh,
Mhm.
Specifically like aerial drift type stuff and like sort of positioning Fox where you want him to be, and like sort of a drill or something to practice that I'll give people sometimes is like you just sort of put like a not a computer, just like another player that's not pressing any inputs, or like a training mode thing, and you just do a dash dance in front of them, and then you at different spacings, and then you do a short hop drill, and you try to aim which side of them the drill lands on.
Okay.
So just do a quick example. This is an example of what it is. It's like, okay, we go into like training mode, and then we get Fox. Pick some. Let's just pick Falco because that's kind of like what you're practicing against. I think that's fine to use. And then, okay, we'll just put him in the center. And then so you just do this, and then you go, okay, I'm gonna land on the right of him 3 times, and then the left of him 3 times, or something like that. So you do this. Oops, I messed that one up. But you have to land like right next to him, to the point where you can like shine, basically, is the idea. Not just like this or something, you know. So you kind of try to get that. You're like, okay, I got him on that side. Dash dance like this. Okay, can I get to this side or can I get to that side? And that is like a pretty. If you did that right now, it would probably look not too great. And that is why that is something. That's why that's something I would really like for you to practice. Something close, kind of like that. I think that's like drill number 1 that we can kind of get out of the way that you should probably do. Let's see. There's a few other ones. I'm gonna go through and see. Just again, if there's something that. So yeah, like so this type of stuff is like. A lot of times I'll get after people a lot for going for like these types of drills and stuff like this, but I think this isn't really your fundamental issue. I think this is more of like a symptom of you having like a lot of uncertainty about things. So like when you're fighting Falco, what is your like game plan? Like what's going through your head?
I feel like if I was being completely like transparent, I think most of the time I think, okay, I just want to bait them into lasering me so I can dash back grab, or hopefully like full hop over them and like drill grab them and attempt to do like the platform tech chase thing. It's usually like my idea.
Okay.
But I feel like I don't know, or I'll just try to hit them again, like kind of back to that.
Yeah, like I noticed there's a lot of spots. Like right here, you just kind of try to hit Falco, and then right here, you just kind of try to hit Falco. A lot of times when you do like a full hop like this, you want to full hop and then see what they do. So like if you full hopped and then he was actually underneath you and shielded, that would be a great time to come down. But if they're in a spot where they're kind of like ready and like they're kind of planned around your aerial here, you shouldn't just keep going for it. You know, now is the time here to kind of like leave, like to full hop and then double jump away and kind of not. You don't want to interact in areas where you don't really know what's going on. So like if there's a spot and there's like a lot of uncertainty, like right here, you know, there are a bazillion things Falco could be doing right here, and you kind of jumped without really looking too hard. And so anytime you're in a spot and you feel like that, man, I'm like really confused, and this, like I'm super confused, there's a lot going on, I should just pick an option or whatever. I want you to pick an option that keeps you safe, but not like overwhelmingly safe, not like freaking going from here and going to the ledge, you know, not like scared necessarily, but just take like a decision where you're kind of not committing to something. And I would say pretty much do that every time you are like confused. Like if you were kind of confused here, just dash dance on the platform instead of going in.
Okay.
And so that's like another big thing is basically because like top players are kind of like, we get confused all the time in Melee. Like it's a really fast game. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of different play styles and like movement styles that people can have, and like a lot of different ways to play each character. And usually the answer is just like, if you are confused, pick a mostly safe option that isn't like immensely predictable, and then kind of just keep playing from there. Because like it's kind of hard for you to force things on your opponent when you're starting from so far away. But simultaneously, they can't force anything on you. If you just stay dash dancing on this platform, Falco doesn't have any immediate threats on you. So it's completely valid to just not interact for a bit. Like, it's okay. I'm trying to think of like a good analogy it's kind of like I don't know, kind of like, yeah, you ever played like Capture the Flag or something in school,
Yeah.
and like you're not always running to go get the flag because they would just catch you if you, every time you got free you just immediately, ran for the flag, like directly, like a beeline towards it. It would be
Yeah.
like too obvious and too simple, and it doesn't have any like weight behind it. But you like, you wait until they're kind of distracted and you're kind of off to the side, and maybe you teamed up with somebody else from your team, and you're kind of waiting for an opportunity to kind of slip by their defenses, grab the flag, and sprint back.
Yeah.
And that is a lot more how this game works than, like, there's my opponent, I'm gonna go beat him up. It's a lot
Okay.
more like, okay, like, if I just go in immediately, I'm kind of putting myself into a dumb spot, kind of like what you did here, where, like, if you
Yeah.
go for this drill, you're kind of just putting yourself into, like, a bad spot, like, for free from their perspective. Like, it's really easy for them. But, flip the roles, you could be the other guy.
Mm.
You could be this person who's standing here. You could be this Falco, and you're waiting, and then the fox just jumps off, and you're like, oh, thanks for giving it to me for free, Because it's
Yeah.
Capture the Flag is a two-team game. So it's kind of like you are down for the other guy to be an idiot, but you don't want to be the idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, I would rather you get hit while planning something sneaky. Like, you're like, I'm gonna move around and see what he does. So you're kind of moving, and then he kind of moves over here, and you kind of full hop over, and you go center, and you take a laser, and then you kind of full hop and see what he does, and he doesn't really give it to you, so you just go back to the ground and you dash dance again. Like, you're not losing anything by doing that. It's totally okay, and in fact, you almost need to play like that, or at least be able to play like that.
Yeah.
That is like a lot more of like a fundamental basis of like, I am gonna create like a tricky strategy from which to get them. And it's kind of like the same thing as Capture the Flag, where you're trying to wait until they are overcommitted to something that they are doing, or they are kind of off guard, or they're not expecting something, or they accidentally put themselves out of position. So like, maybe somebody jumps and then you get under them and they get scared, so they double jump, and then you go aha, and you jump up and you catch their double jump, and it's like, you didn't, like, the only way for them to use their double jump is them deciding to use it. You can't use their double jump for them. So
Yeah.
you, a lot of time, it's like a lot more about trying to move in a way that you can get them to do something dumb, and then you hit them. But if they're not doing anything dumb and you decide to hit them, you're the dumb one who decided to attack when there was no reason to. Like, that's what you want to get them to do what you just did.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
And so, like, you would much rather be this guy who's kind of passively waiting and seeing if his opponent is dumb than the guy just sort of letting it rip.
Yeah.
That is like general gameplay. And so the issue with Melee is that the game is really hard, and it's really complicated, and it's really fast. And those are not good ingredients for nice, consistent gameplay.
Yeah.
And so when you do really dumb stuff, when you just jump around and throw out moves, you will have some degree of success. Perhaps even beating people you wouldn't beat by playing, quote, smarter.
Mm.
But the key is to not do it anyway. Like, even though you will get better results by playing like that, it's not as conducive to improvement. So it's tricky, but you have to kind of you have to sort of have confidence in the process of like learning the game in a very like structured way. And then, because otherwise, if you take it sort of based on win-loss or how well you're doing or whatever, the variance is huge, and the results are often like misleading. Like, you're like, man, I do this drill, and I know this drill is bad, but it hits them every time. And like, the more you sort of indulge in that mentality, the harder it gets to fix stuff like that. So you should be focusing a lot more on making decisions that make sense. Like, I full hopped. I waited to see what Falco did. While I was in the air, Falco up tilted. And so I thought, aha, he up tilted. So I landed on his ending lag of his up tilt with a drill. And then I drill shined or drill grabbed or drill up tilted. And sort of like having like a reason why your move was good, and like it wasn't just like, well, why'd you try to hit him, and you're like, well, they were there. Like it needs to be like, well, I am carefully, it's like even, the raptors in Jurassic Park were testing the electric fence for weaknesses. They weren't just throwing their bodies into it because they would die.
Yeah.
So you want to be the smart one. You want to be testing your opponent for little weaknesses without overcommitting. So those are two like big overcommitments. So then like right here. So this isn't a situation where you have like a guaranteed hit on Falco. So your options here should be get kind of threatening to Falco or be kind of threatening to Falco. And either dash dance right here, just really quick, or full hop right here, or maybe go to the platform. Because the idea is if Falco like lashes out and throws out a move to defend himself, that he won't hit you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like right here, if you had done a little dash dance, he would have up tilted, and then you go, aha, I pretended to approach, which caused Falco to think I was going to approach. He up tilted, I dodged the up tilt, and then I up smashed him, or I grabbed him, or something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you just see Falco standing there and you go in, if he does nothing, or let's say he dashes back, you'll randomly hit him, and it'll be like, yeah, I won that interaction. But you didn't win an interaction. Your character just hit his character because the game is chaotic and difficult, and he's just not good enough.
Yeah.
So, okay. What are your thoughts on what I've talked about so far?
Oh, I think they make a lot of sense. Because again, like I was saying when you brought it up initially, like I don't know, I do think that like I just will like pick and choose, like I don't know, not like I guess out of whim is a good word, but like when I'm going in and just being the guy to try to hit stuff. I don't know. I have this like deep-seated fear of being like that typical Fox main that people talk about at like low and mid levels that just goes and hits stuff. And in fairness, it's a pretty valid criticism because I feel like I do it a lot. But I don't know. I like the ideas of actually slowing down and thinking, even if it might mean that I don't get any like sick results or whatever.
Yeah, because the results will always come if you trust the process. I picked up Falco like a little over a year ago. My Falco was awful. But I knew that if I just trusted the process, I learned how to protect myself, and I learned how to solve various problems in each matchup, that eventually I'd start getting results. And I'm kind of there. I'm not quite there to the point where I want to be yet, but I'm definitely getting some results, and I still trust the process to continue to bring me further. Whereas, like, I think it's just really difficult in this game to get a good win and then kind of be like, that's like, or like it's really easy, I should say, to get a good win and then be like, this is my new level now. Now I should just beat this person forever and ever, and I should beat everyone else who's worse than them forever and ever. And there's just like a lot of pitfalls with performance-based thinking in this game, especially at the level you're at, because there's so much variance. Like, that's the hardest thing. Like, I'm working with another person who's around the same level, I think, and like they just say like, well, it's really hard to know what the actual good stuff is because like the stuff that works is not necessarily the good stuff. And that is why a lot of times playing sort of safer and looking for opportunities is so much better for learning, is because the difference between good and bad players, or bad and good players, is mostly that like the bad players will give you things without effort. So, not to necessarily call you bad, but just saying. So right here,
Oh, yeah, no worries.
so right here, like this Falco player did not have to do anything to get you to do something that they could punish. So
Yeah.
he just starts the match, he does a drop laser, he does a little dash dance, and he goes, oh, Fox has given me something. And so he could have probably punished this with something better than he did. And he kind of punished it. So, and so the idea is like the worst type of player you're playing against, or like the newer, more inexperienced players, they will give you the opening with a lot less effort. So like, for instance, like if you're in like pools or something, and you're playing a bunch of kind of bad players, all you have to do is kind of like dash dance for a second. I'm sure you've played these people where you just dash dance for like half a second, and they'll like, I don't know, Falcon side B, you know?
Yeah.
And then you just like, here I'm in a dash dance, and they're like, oh, Falcon side B, and then you just shield it or jump over it or whatever, and you hit them. And so when I am playing against somebody who's a lot lower level than me, it feels the same way. It feels like, oh, all I do is this little dash dance, and then I laser kind of aggressively, and then I move back, and I go to the platform, and then they're like, ah, Fox instant short hop nair in, or whatever, you know, and then they get hit. So it's like the same concept, and it happens at every level of play. Even when two top level players are playing each other, the only difference between them and the lower level players, from their perspective a lot of time, is that they're harder to trick into doing something dumb. So a lot of times at lower level you don't have as many like long neutral interactions. Like at high level you get a lot of like 30 to 60 second periods where nobody really hits anybody else. And those happen because both players are defending themselves well while simultaneously like they're kind of poking around, but not in like a dangerous way. They're kind of poking around like, are you going to give me this? Maybe you'll bite this bait. Maybe you'll give me this. Maybe you'll mess this up. And they're kind of prodding and looking for that stuff the whole time. And the better you get at not putting yourself in a bad position. It's kind of like, I'm pretty bad at chess. And if you played me in if somebody good played me in chess, it doesn't really matter which moves they use, because the more moves I put out, eventually I'm going to do something really dumb and they'll just beat me. At the beginning, maybe, I know my opening or whatever, I can do a few moves that aren't bad. But the more opportunities I get to make bad moves, the more likely I'll make a bad move, So the more opportunities you can give your opponent to do something dumb, the more likely it is that they will do something dumb. Especially kind of like the lower level they're at. It's much easier to get them to do something dumb. So for instance, like against like a really bad Falco, they might do laser in place, dash short hop in down air. And every Fox who's been playing for more than 3 months knows the solution is you take the laser and then you dash back, grab the down air.
Yeah.
And that is kind of like the way to beat unranked Falcos. But if you watch like Mango or me or whoever versus like top Fox players, we also get caught by that. We will also down air in and the Fox can just dash back and grab us. The difference is that it's a lot harder to trick us into doing that dumb down air. And so you want to be the person where like, if you basically don't want to you don't want to be the person who is doing dumb things without being like really forced to. Like your opponent needs to put in work to get you to do something dumb. That is like what you want. You want them to have to work for it.
I see. Yeah.
And so a lot of times at the level you're at right now, the people you're playing against or doing decent against right now, you don't really need to do anything immediately tricky. Like you don't need to do like a really good dash dance bait or like a really good platform bait or a really good timing mix-up. You kind of just need to move around. Like if you just move around on the platforms and dash dance, And if you're paying attention, they will put themselves into bad spots. Like, let's say you want, you want to up smash under Falco's laser. Well, if you just stand here or you dash dance, Falco's not going to give you the up smash. He's going to laser at this correct range where you can't really get in with the up smash and everything like that. But then let's say you're here and you're dash dancing and he's lasering you and you go up to the platform and then he goes, okay, and he dash dances here. You come down a little bit. He goes back. He's doing it again. You full hop up like this. He goes, aha, I'm not falling for that. So he moves out of the way. You go up to the top plat. These types of things continue for a little bit. And then, you're looking to maybe drop a back air on him, but you're not really doing it. Thank you, Sora, for the raid. And, okay, so so let's say you're thinking of dropping that back air on him, but you're not really doing it. And then, let's say there's some moment where you are up here and he's here, and then you finally come down off the platform, and he'll do, an approaching laser, and then you're like, aha, there's my moment, and then you get an up smash. Because just by avoiding your opponent and making the match take a little bit longer, you've given them an opportunity to make a bad positional choice and give you an opening.
Okay, I see. Like just having a little more patience and discipline for those openings.
Yeah, and so so this Falco's not doing it great because this is a bad up tilt. But what this Falco is basically doing is they're not hard committing to something you're doing. They're kind of maybe they'll do just dumb thing here, And that's kind of what you want to do, but with just your movement, not necessarily committing to stuff like that.
Okay.
So I'll try to point out another spot. Okay, this is a great example of something kind of like this happening. So it's not perfect, but so you kind of jump in, you try to hit Falco, you get lasered, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not going to deal with that. So you leave, and it's you're not immediately trying to necessarily punish this nair, because this nair isn't bad. It's not a horrible nair. If you were really good at dash dance grab, you might be able to get it, but you also might not. But just by kind of keeping yourself safe for a second, and not jumping immediately into this, then the Falco does this down air, and this is a bad down air because it gives you an easy punish. It's a bad down air because Falco doesn't have dash momentum out of it. He's doing it out of a shine, so he has a very limited area that he can cover. And so it's oh, okay, whereas this nair is a dash momentum nair, so he had a lot more options for how he might be able to drift it or fast fall it and hit you at different ranges. But it's look, you kind of keep yourself safe for a second. Oh, Falco did this down air? Nice. Easy punish. Although, you didn't hit the up smash, but it's okay. But yeah, so there's oh, I kept myself safe, and they gave me something for free. But then here, you didn't let them give you something for free. They were just standing there, and you were I'm just going to go in. What are they going to do about it? And it's well, they might hit you.
Yeah.
So, this full hop is good. So that's good, and then this is good. So right here, I would recommend you probably dash away here. And you could have kept kind of this thing going. This sort of full hop thing where you're not getting hit. This is sort of an example of oh, I'm kind of keeping myself safe. If you ran over here immediately, you can continue keeping yourself safe, and eventually they're going to kind of give you something. So yeah, so notice that from this position, you were kind of the one that gave the free thing. Falco does this back air, you whiff yours, and he goes, oh, nice, free punish. And then, so these running shines, you had a pretty big frame advantage right here. I'm not super opposed to these or against these or anything necessarily. It's not maybe the greatest position to do it, but it's not really in the vein of exactly what I'm talking about, so I'm going to skip it kind of.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, even right here. So you kind of run in, you have kind of a safe shield, and then Falco does a bad downer. You could have just shine at a shielded or something here.
Okay.
Just an example of how a lot of times when you get an advantageous position, it's because you just kind of chilled out and your opponent gives you an advantageous position rather than needing to secure it. Oh, I mean, here, look, right here. So you kind of just waited, you didn't let him hit you, and then you dropped, and then look, Falco's throwing out this aerial. That's an easy punish. You know, if you, let's say you had like Leffen level punish game, you could just drill grab this, and you might literally kill Falco and take the stock, you know. And Falco couldn't do anything about getting hit by this back air because he had already committed to throwing out this aerial. You see that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, a little bit of scrapping. But then, you know, notice in this case that you're the one who's kind of caught out of position on this interaction. And they're like wave dashing in. So this is like a super unsafe decision, like right here, because you're just sort of going for it. But if you keep yourself safe, maybe Falco will throw something out and kind of hand you it. Oh, right here. There's an example of it going your way because you see that Falco could be approaching you. So you take the safe route and you full hop. And let's say when you did this full hop, Falco didn't come in and he just dash danced. You can either re-land here, or if he lasers, maybe you can double jump to the platform, and you'd be safe. But here, Falco does this bad down air, and so you go, aha, okay, I get an opening. Okay. Okay, not much happening there. Yeah, so here's another example. So that was bad because you just kind of jumped into it, right? But then right here, you're kind of next to Falco, you dash away, and you go, oh, Falco gave me this free nair. Just because I dashed away. And then here we go, and then you get kind of caught out of position here. And then right here, you should probably just be keeping yourself safe. But you just go for it, so you get hit.
Yeah.
Going for it, getting hit. Okay, that time you caught Falco doing... Yeah, these up airs should be working, but you're doing them at kind of a bad timing and spacing. But
okay,
you just need to, like, do it. I don't even know how to describe it. I think you just need to get better at, like, controlling your up airs and stuff in general. And then it should kind of come from there. So, yeah. So you were kind of fighting into this. But notice that the reason that you get this opening eventually is that Falco misses, and then you just get this nice punish. And that, like, you're not gonna get a lot of your openings off of just, oh, look at, here we go, look at this. You kind of just chilled out for a second, Falco jumps in, you go, oh, that's an easy punish. You know? You just hit him. And then you're punishing, and then he gives you another thing. Because you were just keeping yourself safe for a second. Keeping yourself safe. Oh, that was good pressure. Okay, yeah. And then this... So, this was fine, in my opinion, because he was at such a high percent, and he was dash dancing and stuff. So this particular nair, I guess, is fine, but, like... in general, I don't want you to do this. Like, in general, try to do the safe thing. But I would have definitely done that same nair you just did. I think it was a good one. But, like, nairs like this, you know, like that, Falco's invincible. And, like, right here, Falco's at 0. And you're just kind of like, man, I'm a stock down. I need to hit him. And it's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. You can just wait for him to be dumb. Because instead, he just watch from the Falco's perspective. Falco does this down air. Dash back, dash dance for a sec. Oh, Fox gave it to me for free. And they didn't do the right punish, so you still CC'd him. But notice how you were this time with the one whiffing, and then they were just punishing it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, this up tilt is just not too good like that. When it's a little, it kind of, like the issue with the up tilt there is that it kind of puts the ball in the opponent's court, because you're kind of like, it's kind of the same thing as doing just like a dumb aerial in, even though you're like staying in place and like walling, and it feels like you're kind of waiting for them, but in a sense you're kind of, you know, committing anyway. Like it's the same as kind of doing an aerial in, because you're sticking yourself in landing lag or in ending lag of your up tilt, and you're kind of hoping that they just you're kind of hoping that they just kind of get hit by it. But if they just avoid it, then they're like, oh, I played safe and Fox did a bad up tilt, so I hit him.
Yeah, yeah.
And also for the platform tech chase, I know you were saying you were having some issues with that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I just have like confidence going for it. Just because I don't think I practiced it like very much at all.
okay, so like, what is your like? What do you like when you're doing the up throw tech chase at like low percents? Like, what are you thinking?
Well, like I try to. I guess I don't have like very much good control of my character, but I try to like put the up air, um, like where tech in place or miss tech would be. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm really slow most of the time, so like, I end up not getting there. And then sometimes I will just straight up like wait for the roll if I think that like they have like a roll away or roll in habit towards the edge of the platform.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, after the up air, I usually don't. I don't know. I guess I don't have like the confidence to necessarily do anything else after that one except try to go for another up air or hopefully get a grab off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But so
Okay.
like, I guess to be like, you know, to get straight to the point of what the question you asked, bro, nothing really. Like I think I just know like the start of it, and then after that, I just hope that I can get another hit most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're doing the 50-50, right, between like tech in place miss tech versus either of the rolls?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so once you hit that first up air, usually you're gonna end up doing either another up air or like a nair. Those are
Okay.
kind of the general two. Or if they DI off stage, you'll go for like a shine probably, or an
Okay.
edge guard. But if they're on stage, if they kind of go way up high or over on the other platform, it's usually time for like an up air. But then if you hit them and they're kind of like right here, a lot of times nair is good or better than going for the up air. Um, I wanted to talk about it more, but I haven't gotten an opportunity to look at it yet. Like you haven't really done it so far.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm annoyed that they tried that. Oh, let's go!
Yep. Yeah,
No,
I fucked up. I didn't hit the roll.
no,
I didn't hit
no!
the roll.
I was so happy for you. I was like, "That's right, the stupid Falco." No, just press the R button. No. Oh, I'm so sad.
I know. I blew that. We were joking about that because like we had a player that would like beat him all the time. That like cheesed him a bunch and it would always like tilt him and stuff. And I was like, oh well, like there's no way that this hits him. And I think I was just stun locked by it. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what the fuck? You got hit by
Oh
backdoor
wow, that
shine.
was crazy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So still, I think. Okay, so let's see. So we went over a bunch of neutral stuff. We went over the drill, with like landing in front or behind him. I think you could probably benefit, and I don't normally recommend Uncle Punch combos, but I think you could definitely benefit from doing some Uncle Punch stuff. So let me pull it up really quick. I think something like, um, oops, let me turn off the audio for this. So let's say we go into like combo training or something, and I just want you to basically put Falco at like 20, and then let's see, maybe 40. Yeah, and just try to do like this. Just try to do a bunch of falling up airs. And if you can, try to do it like single hit, like that. So it's like hit, and then you just react and hit, and see how, and try to land it so that like you land directly underneath where you hit them, like that.
Okay.
So because a lot of times I feel like your ability to just aim the up air in general is kind of lacking, and it's giving you just like a really hard time, just because like when you hit like an up air like this and Falco's there, it's like you don't super know what to do or like how to hit it. So I think like if you just get like a basis of being able to do the falling up air, it would help a lot.
Okay.
Because a lot of times I just noticed it's like kind of small issues in the either timing or the aerial drift that are preventing you from getting a follow-up.
Yeah,
and
like,
yeah, go for it.
like I know specifically sometimes like, I'll double jump like either way too early, or way too late a lot, and then I usually end up getting hit out of my double jump because I like just whiff like an aerial and then just get hit out of it.
Mm-hmm. No, I actually did see that. I think another thing you could do is like, you know, practice on like get like puff or something, and then put her at like 70 or something like that, and then practice doing the single hit.
Okay.
And it's definitely not an easy window. It's been a while since I practiced it. Like that. And it'll just kind of give you a feeling for like when the single hit comes out and kind of like when the up air comes out in general.
Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of times you're just kind of throwing your body up there, and it needs to be like a much more specific effort of exactly where you're placing your hitboxes. And it's like a lot of times you don't need to do the rising single hit like in combos and stuff like that, but I feel like it'll give you a better sense of kind of like where it just feels like a lot of times like you're having to fight the opponent, and then you're simultaneously having to like fight Fox because he's not going where you're telling him to go. And I think that is definitely an issue. I think another thing I do to practice accuracy is I will do something like this with my dash dance, where I'll try to dash dance under this side, and then I'll dash dance here, and then I'll kind of go across, I'll dash dance here, and then dash dance here, and try to just get good, and then you can kind of like foxtrot between these spots. Doing this. Another thing I'll do is I'll do like edge cancels on the platforms. So I'll kind of do like this and try to edge cancel these. I think that to be honest helps quite a bit. When I'm picking up new characters, I do a lot of stuff like this where I'm edge canceling, where I'll try to do like jump, double jump, edge cancel, full hop, double jump, edge cancel, and just sort of set up your character to like hit these spots. Because it's just, yeah, there are just a lot of spots where like your opponent will be like right here, and you'll be like on the ground, and I can tell you're like, oh no, and you just kind of like throw it up there like, get him, Fox, hopefully this is in the right spot. And then like that'll a lot of times, you know, create even more inconsistency, which can cause even more lack of confidence in spots, because you're like, well, sometimes it doesn't work, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of it is like simplifying things down to pure character control and kind of taking the matchup and the situation out of it, because you know, in the spot you're like, okay, first of all, is this even the right decision? How are they gonna DI it? Like, what's their percent? Like, you have a timing window where it's like, oh, they're up in the air, you have to hit them with this up air within the next half a second or you failed, you know? And it's like there's all these extra factors creating additional pressure and making it harder. So if you're not practicing the character control very deliberately outside of a tournament environment and like focusing on specifically like one step at a time, can I aim my down airs? Can I aim my dash dance? Can I aim my up airs? Can I aim my double jumps, which is what I was doing with the edge cancel? Like getting these things down separately outside of practice is gonna help you eventually when you're in tournament. I know it sounds super obvious, but just you're not gonna be able to get that stuff super easily by just playing the game, because there's so many like factors that can get in the way of it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Okay. Okay, I'm glad you hit that up air. Okay, didn't see that, don't worry. I guess even stuff like this, it seems really small, but like getting stuck in run turnaround right here is kind of like small differences in your character control that you don't work on specifically outside of tournament always come out in tournament. Or like this up air. This is the type of stuff that I really want you to end up fixing, is like this rising up air was never going to be able to hit Falco in this position. And I think that like because you're not super confident in like hitting it, you're also not super confident in what can be hit or not. And then that also creates the feeling where you're not sure if the up air is the right choice, because you don't even know whether the up air would hit here or not. And it's kind of like this big, pyramid of things that all come back to being able to control the character well. And that's kind of like what I was getting into at the beginning, is that if you're unable to reduce the game down into very specific chunks, like if you're not able to do the exact up air that you want to do, then even when you're like, this is the exact right up air, if you can't do it all the time, but you think you're doing it, you'll get a bunch of inconsistent results. And you'll be like, I'm not really sure what I should have done there. It's like, no, the up air was right. You just didn't aim it right.
Yeah.
But I think like the not giving people like not being the one who gives people things for free and neutral is, I'd say, like the biggest point neutral wise, like sort of being down to play it a little safer. So the thing that'll do is that'll prevent you from just getting hit all the time and giving people free openings, but it won't help you, punish better. Or honestly, even like, I remember being at this level, and there's so many times when you're like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna bait this aerial, and then they do the aerial at like a range in front of you, and you're like, okay, now actually getting Fox over there to punish that is now tricky. And a lot of times, even when the drill is the best option, drill requires more accuracy to land. And that is why so many Foxes there go for Nair, because they're like, oh, well, like, the Nair, just moves across and covers everything in its way perfectly. So with the Nair, I don't need, accuracy.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of little crutches that can develop if you don't have the accuracy. So I think, like, both being able to punish the stuff that your opponents give you by, like, actually getting the correct opening, and then also, once you actually have the correct opening, being able to actually hit the combo, like, those things are both entirely dependent on character control. Like, that's not, like, a difficult processing moment, because I'm sure you've seen Foxes who have 3 brain cells, but they can move really fast, and they're not doing, like, the most intelligent combos in the world. They just kind of hit you and then they hit you again and then they run over and they hit you again. And the reason they can get away with that is because they have good control of Fox. So they're like, well, I hit you with this move and I'm fast enough to cover the next one and I can aim directly wherever your DI is. So with any of my moves. So it matters a lot less exactly what move they're doing. So like you were saying, in a lot of spots, like you don't really know what to do after you hit like an up air or after you kind of get your combo started a little bit. And the key with Fox is that it doesn't really matter all that much. A lot of the advantages from having better choices in your combos are very small. Or not small, I should say. Individually, they are tiny. And so, like, someone who is... like, somebody who can control Fox really well, and they're fast and everything, but they don't know his combo tree, they would probably have a punish game that was, like, 70 to 80% as effective as a Fox who knew everything.
Okay.
And so you can get that last 20% by looking really closely at, like, should this be an up air or a nair? Maybe I can fair here. Like, that's the stuff, you know, KJH is working on all the time. Like, one little thing where it's like, oh, my whole punish works, but this one little spot could probably be a little bit better. But at the same time, people who are miles worse than that guy can have, like, almost as good of a punish game by just throwing out moves as long as they can control where those moves are placed. Okay, do you have... What are your thoughts on all this? I feel like... Not that I'm necessarily going in circles, but I feel like
No.
it's been summarized, like, really well now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that I've gotten a lot out of it, and a lot of good places, like actual like things to work on and set in motion. I guess, however I would say it. I guess,
Mm-hmm.
like an action plan. I guess that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, so that's good. Definitely those drills are going to be really, really important.
Yeah,
That is what I would say you should focus on the most currently, because I think that even when you're trying to just protect yourself or like play that safe neutral and wait for your opponent to hit you, if you're struggling to place your character correctly, it's really difficult to even necessarily improve that much at protecting yourself, because you're
yeah,
protecting yourself against a way wider range of things that can go wrong when, you know, when you don't have as much precision. Whereas, like, if you're like, I am placing my character in this exact position, therefore they can only hit me with these things to protect against, and things get a lot more cut and dry once you can position Fox. And the other thing is that you're not going to have, like, basically telling you this, and you, let's say you just did a bunch of character control grinding, it's not realistic to like take your character control stat up to like 100 and then solve these other things, even though that might be kind of nice if that happened. But more realistically, it's that like your character control needs to be at a certain level to solve problems at a certain level. So like practicing a bunch of character control will allow you to get better at the defense and the punish and the neutral up to a certain point, and then you can get better character control after that. So there's like diminishing returns to maxing out any particular stat, and it's more that like you just need better character control to create opportunities for yourself to grow in the other ways, and then that's how you kind of, it's like character control goes up, now I can work on all my other things to bring them up to that level. Now when you stagnate again, character control goes up again. And so you don't beat yourself up for not having perfect character control. You just need better character control so that it'll help you categorize your other experiences better, or like funnel them into a way that you can learn from them better. But it's still definitely kind of like a bringing up everything together type thing. It's just that sometimes there's one thing that's holding you back more that you have to fix before your other elements can improve. But it's still like a slow journey of all these different stats going up to the top, rather than like one stat has to be maxed before you can touch the others, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. That's yeah, I
Okay,
agree.
so we're about an hour. Closing thoughts, questions?
Um, I don't think so. I think you touched on a lot of stuff that hopefully help a lot. And yeah, I don't know. I appreciate everything
Okay.
the feedback and stuff.
All right, awesome. If anything comes up, you get confused while you're doing any of the drills or anything, feel free to hit me up on Discord, send me a clip or something, and I'll help you out. No problem. Uh,
Okay,
I'll send you my payment stuff after the stream is over.
sweet.
All right,
Sounds
man.
good.
Awesome. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Peace.